Steelers Nation, stop everything you're doing right now because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. The Pittsburgh Steelers just pulled off what might be the most shocking move in franchise history, and I'm not exaggerating when I say the entire NFL is in complete chaos right now. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button immediately because you cannot afford to miss a single update on this developing story. This is massive, this is unprecedented, and this is happening right now. Okay, let me set the stage for you because this situation is absolutely wild. Just weeks ago, everyone thought they had the Steelers figured out. Aaron Rodgers was coming to Pittsburgh. The legendary quarterback, the future Hall of Famer, the guy who's won MVP awards and led teams to championship glory. It made perfect sense on paper, right? Bring in a veteran who knows how to win, someone who can stabilize the quarterback position, provide that leadership the team desperately needed, and give this roster a legitimate shot at competing in what everyone knows is a brutal AFC conference. Whether you personally loved that idea or absolutely hated it, you at least understood the thinking behind it. The logic was there. Get a proven winner, lean on that incredible defense Pittsburgh always seems to have, run the football effectively, and let Rodgers manage the game with his experience and football IQ. It wasn't the flashiest plan in the world, but it was solid. It was safe. It was the kind of move the Steelers organization has built their reputation on over decades. But here's where things get absolutely insane. According to multiple sources around the league, according to insiders who have their fingers on the pulse of what's happening in NFL front offices, the Steelers have completely abandoned that plan. They're not bringing in Aaron Rodgers after all. Instead, they've executed a massive trade that nobody saw coming, and they're signing their actual dream quarterback. Not a consolation prize, not a backup option. Their dream guy. The quarterback they've apparently had their eyes on for months, maybe even longer. And the reaction across the football world has been nothing short of complete pandemonium. Fans are losing their minds. Analysts who get paid to predict these things are scrambling to rewrite their takes. Rival teams in the AFC North and beyond are suddenly paying very close attention to what Pittsburgh is building because this changes everything. Let me explain why this is such a monumental shift. When you bring in someone like Aaron Rodgers, you're essentially putting a clock on your championship window. Sure, he's brilliant. Sure, he's accomplished. Sure, he can still sling the football and make throws that 99% of quarterbacks can't make. But let's be real about the situation. Every single season becomes more critical than the last. Every game matters more. Every injury scare becomes a potential disaster. You're constantly aware that time is running out. It's win now or bust, and that pressure affects everything from coaching decisions to roster construction to how aggressive you can be in building for sustained success. The Steelers brass clearly sat down, looked at all the variables, and asked themselves the hard question. Can Aaron Rodgers take us to the promised land and keep us there for years? Can he be the foundation of the next great era of Steelers football, or is he more of a short-term rental? And apparently, after weeks or possibly months of internal discussions, after evaluating every possible scenario, after weighing the pros and cons, they came to a conclusion that shocked even people inside the building. The answer was no. Not because Rodgers isn't talented, not because he can't still play at a high level, but because the ceiling with him was ultimately limited. He could make them competitive, he could probably get them into the playoffs, but could he dominate the conference for the next 5 or 6 years? Could he be the guy who terrifies opposing defenses every single week for an extended period of time? That was the doubt that crept in, and once that doubt took root, everything changed. The entire direction of the franchise shifted in a completely different direction. So what did the Steelers do? They went bold. They went aggressive. They identified a quarterback who represents something entirely different. This isn't about managing games and playing conservative football. This is about explosiveness. This is about an elite arm that can attack every level of the field. This is about mobility that extends plays and creates chaos for defenses. This is about a player with the kind of upside that makes you dream about championship parades, not just playoff appearances. The quarterback being linked to Pittsburgh right now is someone that fans have been fantasizing about for years. We're talking about a player with legitimate superstar potential, someone who can take over a game when everything is falling apart around him, someone who makes the routine look easy and the impossible look routine. Think about what this does to the entire complexion of the team. Suddenly, those talented wide receivers on the roster aren't just running routes hoping for opportunities. They're legitimate weapons who will get the ball in positions where they can make game-changing plays. The tight end position transforms from a safety valve into a matchup nightmare. The running game becomes more effective because defenses can't stack the box anymore. They can't cheat. They can't sell out to stop one dimension of the offense. Every single snap, defensive coordinators have to account for a quarterback who can beat them with his arm, his legs, and his mind. That's how an entire offense goes from predictable to dangerous literally overnight. Inside the Steelers facility, you can imagine the energy right now. Players are finding out about this the same way fans are. Text messages flying around, group chats exploding, guys checking social media and seeing the reports and not quite believing what they're reading. Some players are absolutely shocked because they genuinely thought the Rodgers plan was set in stone. Others are energized beyond belief because a move this bold sends an unmistakable message. The front office believes this roster is ready to compete for championships right now, and they're not interested in half measures or playing it safe. This is the kind of move that galvanizes a locker room. It tells every player on that roster that management is all in, that they're willing to make the tough calls, that they're committed to winning at the highest level. From a coaching perspective, this opens up possibilities that simply didn't exist before. You can't run the same offense with a mobile, big-armed young quarterback that you would run with a veteran like Rodgers. The playbook explodes with options. More motion to confuse defenses, more tempo to keep them off balance. More shot plays down the field because you have a quarterback with the arm strength and confidence to attack. More designed quarterback runs and rollouts to take advantage of athleticism. The entire philosophy changes from conservative and controlled to aggressive and dynamic. Offensive coordinators live for this kind of challenge. This is what they dream about, having a quarterback who allows you to use every concept you've ever imagined instead of limiting yourself to what's safe. Now, I'd be lying if I said every single Steelers fan is on board with this decision. The fan base is genuinely divided right now. You've got one group that feels blindsided and thinks Aaron Rodgers deserved better. They wanted to see what a legend could do in the black and gold. They believed in the experience and the winning pedigree. Then you've got another group that's absolutely thrilled, posting celebration videos, declaring this the smartest move the organization has made in a decade. They're talking about finally getting a franchise quarterback for the long haul, about resetting the timeline, about building something that can last. And then there's the emotional middle ground, the fans who respect what Rodgers represents but can't deny how rare it is to actually land a quarterback with this kind of potential. These fans understand the risk, but appreciate the ambition. Around the NFL, the reaction has been absolutely electric. Rival executives are reportedly stunned that Pittsburgh was able to pull this off. Other AFC teams that felt comfortable with where they stood in the pecking order are suddenly reevaluating everything. Media analysts are already redoing their playoff predictions and power rankings because you simply can't ignore what this means. Defensive coordinators who spend their off-seasons game planning are adding the Steelers to their list of nightmares. Because make no mistake, this isn't just swapping one quarterback for another. This is a fundamental power shift in the conference. For years, the Steelers have been labeled as tough, physical, and competitive, but ultimately limited offensively. They could beat you with defense and special teams, but could they really outscore elite offenses in shootouts? That question hung over the franchise like a dark cloud. This trade obliterates that narrative entirely. Whether this works out or crashes and burns, nobody can ever again say the Steelers aren't willing to take big swings. Let's talk about the financial commitment here because that's a huge part of the story. The Steelers are reportedly willing to invest significant draft capital and long-term money to secure this quarterback. That doesn't happen casually. That requires ownership, the general manager, the coaching staff, and the personnel department to be completely aligned. This isn't a panic move made out of desperation. This is conviction. This is belief. This is the organization saying we've identified our guy, and we're going all in to get him. The level of confidence required to make a move like this cannot be overstated. If this quarterback struggles, if he doesn't live up to expectations, if the trade looks bad in hindsight, the criticism will be absolutely relentless. Every interception will be analyzed to death. Every loss will be compared to what might have happened with Rodgers. Every misstep will fuel the hot take machine for months. That's the price you pay for bold decisions in the NFL. The Steelers know this. They understand the risk. And they made the move anyway. That tells you everything you need to know about how much they believe in this player. Let's also consider what this means for Aaron Rodgers personally. This has to be stunning for him. There was no public drama leading up to this. No reports of ugly contract disputes or personality clashes. No locker room explosions or behind-the-scenes chaos. By all accounts, this decision wasn't made because Rodgers did something wrong. It was made because the Steelers decided his ceiling wasn't high enough for what they're trying to accomplish. Imagine being one of the greatest quarterbacks of your generation and getting passed over not because you're washed up, but because the team believes someone else has more upside. That's a tough pill to swallow. Now the question becomes, what happens next for him? Does another contender swoop in and offer him an opportunity? Does he become a bridge quarterback somewhere else? Does this push him toward retirement? Whatever happens, his connection to Pittsburgh will now be remembered as a fascinating what-if rather than a defining chapter of his career. For Steelers Nation, this moment is going to be debated for years, maybe decades. This is one of those franchise-defining decisions that becomes a permanent reference point. 10 years from now, fans will still be talking about the day the Steelers chose ambition over safety, the day they traded for their dream quarterback instead of settling for the veteran legend. It's the kind of moment that shapes legacies. If this quarterback becomes a superstar and leads Pittsburgh to championships, the front office looks like geniuses. If it doesn't work out, this decision will haunt them forever. There's no middle ground with moves this bold. And now, the countdown begins. Training camp is going to feel completely different this year. Every practice will be scrutinized. Every throw will be analyzed. Expectations aren't just high, they're through the roof. There will be no patience for growing pains or learning curves. This quarterback is being brought in to win immediately, not next year or the year after. The pressure is immense, but that's exactly what elite players want. They thrive under that kind of spotlight. The Steelers are betting that this quarterback not only handles the pressure but elevates his game because of it. This is genuinely one of the boldest moves this franchise has made in decades. The Steelers have built their reputation on stability, consistency, and smart decision-making. They don't usually make splashy moves that dominate headlines. They build through the draft, develop players, and make calculated decisions. But this is different. This is the Steelers announcing to the entire league that they're done waiting their turn, done being patient, done accepting mediocrity. They're ready to compete for championships right now, and they've put their money where their mouth is. So Steelers Nation, I want to hear from you right now. Do you think this was absolutely the right call? Is replacing Aaron Rodgers with this dream quarterback the move that finally elevates Pittsburgh back to the top of the AFC? Or is this a massive gamble that could completely backfire and set the franchise back for years? The fan base is genuinely split on this, and emotions are running incredibly high. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because this conversation is just getting started. Smash that like button if you respect organizations that make bold moves and aren't afraid to take risks. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for non-stop Steelers coverage because this story is far from over. If this trade really goes through the way sources are reporting, the Steelers didn't just change their quarterback. They changed their entire identity, their entire trajectory, and possibly their entire destiny. This is the beginning of a brand new era, and you don't want to miss a single second of what happens next.